Welcome everybody to the Creative Mind. Damn, man, another Friday. I feel like these days just fucking go by so fast. It's insane. It's a nice sunny day over here in Mexico City where I'm at. Scotty, where you at, man?
Yo, I am in the middle of the Midwest. I'm in Iowa, not Ohio, not Idaho, not corn, or we're corn, not potatoes. So it's funny I have to preface that, but it's a beautiful sunny day here too, man.
Nice, bro. Nice. Love to hear it. And I'm seeing the beautiful people in the audience right now. I hope everybody's starting off their Friday right. Hope you guys have your cup of water, cup of coffee. Sit down, relax, because it's about to be another legendary space over here at Window Kids. Scotty, man, what a fucking pleasure. Dude, you're a legend, man. You don't know how hyped I am right now, because literally you're about to coach us on this space, dude.
Oh man, I'm just grateful to be here. I try to always approach things like nobody knows anything about me, nobody knows anything I do, so just new opportunities to provide as much value as I can. But yeah, I saw you interviewed Trev Alves. I got to tune into that one. I saw Stoic was on, student of mine who I just hopped off a call with, and yeah, they all said great things too. So, no brainer opportunity.
Dude, that's what we love to hear. I mean, when we started this Creative Mind episode, this space, it was months and months ago, and I literally did it just to connect, bro. I was still very new to the space, and I had just dropped my project, and I knew what I had going for me and stuff. But like at the end of the day, people that need to actually know you, have these one-on-one conversations, get to know your reason why you're here. You know what I mean? Kind of like learn your personality, your vibe overall. And so this has been a very great way to connect with all of you guys because you guys are some legendary artists, creators overall, man, just killing it. And I absolutely love being able to have like these one-on-ones with you guys live, to have like the audience tune in on the raw conversation of what it means to have an organic connection. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, I've been doing a podcast for over 6 years, and it was honestly just the means to rub shoulders against people I wanted to connect with and find my voice. So I 100% get it. It changed my life.
I love it, bro. And I see most of the people in here right now are regulars, people that we've seen in the space before. So want to quickly shout you guys out. Thank you for showing up. We really don't gain much from this space aside from just getting to spend a really dope time with you guys. This is really just free content, free knowledge. And what I try to do here with the creative that I'm talking to is kind of get them to open up a bit. You know what I mean? Maybe ask them and take them to a place that other people don't generally take them to, just because I know what it means to really be in the grind of being creative, trying to make a life for themselves, doing what they love. And so that's why we're here, man. This is what all this is about. This is what Window Kids is about. And Scotty, I'm guaranteeing you that your message and your why is pretty similar, man. Because overall, for you to be a coach in the space, both Web 2 and Web 3, I can kind of imagine what that's like, man. But like overall, we're gonna get into it. So, do you want to quickly kind of give yourself a nice little intro, bro, before we just dive straight into it?
Yeah, the skinny, you kind of already said it. Just Scotty Russell, Web 2 and 3 creative business coach, literally a title I've pulled out of my ass, all made up. And I do this outside of 3 kids, so I'm dad first, gym, gym rats, wellness, all that kind of good stuff. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been all I've ever known as a side hustle, whether it was like selling Pokemon drawings in the sandbox growing up, or drawing tattoos in college for people, or doing logos, t-shirt, clothing brands, whatever it is. I've always like had something on the side because I never felt like the creative dream, which I call the American scheme, is, you know, grind your way to a 9 to 5, building someone else's dream when your life actually begins in your 60s, ideally. Some people at 70s, like go to school, get buried in debt, get a degree you don't love, get a safe job that leverages the degree you don't love, get a mortgage, family, kiddos, and grind until retirement. Like that shit just never settled with me. And so over the years, I've kind of just been figuring this out along the way, chipping away at it. I thought the dream was full-time freelance until I realized it wasn't. Drawing on Instagram, finding my groove, I kind of saved me. I went to after I graduated college in 2010, I had a very rock bottom, creative, depressed, suicidal rut. And I ended up going to my first festival called Electric Forest, and really had an eye-opening experience that kind of just like enlightened me of like, okay, yeah, I'm an artist first, even though I thought design was what I was supposed to do because that pays the bills. But I really tapped into my art again after school, and the coaching kind of all came with it. It's just been a really wild path that I never foresaw ever being a coach. That was never a part of the crystal ball I wanted to create for myself.
Damn. And so, like, tell us about that, man. Tell us about that, like, rock bottom. You know what I mean? Like, at the time, how were you feeling? What were you thinking? And, generally, what are, like, the next couple events that happened after that that kind of, like, helped you out of it? Because I know there's a ton of us that we tend to go to rock bottom, some people more than others. And at that time, it feels like there's no hope that everything's kind of lost or forgotten, whatever. It's just like, how do you even come out of that?
Yeah, I feel like because I've hit some really, really rough times, I feel very equipped to handle very unique situations with other students. I'm like, yo, I fucking been there. So like mine came, I went to college. I went to a private D3 school to play football for a school that's like really, really good. It's D3. I know it's nothing fancy, but to me, it meant a lot because I grew up losing and everything, and I always lost, got annihilated in sports. So I got recruited to play at this place. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And then 2 years in, I blew my back out and I worked my ass off, got injections in my spine, went through months of physical therapy only to blow my back out again twice. And so I ended up reluctantly becoming a student coach my junior year of college. And I started becoming very bitter as like we ended up making like the top 8 teams in the nation. And I was seeing all my homies, getting their names in the paper on the scoreboard. I'm like, damn, I played wide receiver. I'm like, that was supposed to be me. And I graduated. I couldn't get a job for 3 years. This was 2010, shortly after the recession. I had a double degree in art and graphic design, and I could not get a job. I was buried in debt, going to a private school, took on all these loans. Went back home to live with my parents. I took on a job as a server at a restaurant. I smelled like tenderloins every day and French fries. All the while I was volunteering. I was leaving work early to go volunteer as a wide receiver football coach for my varsity high school alma mater. So I'm volunteering for a couple years. I'm not getting paid. Finally, what got me back into it was not only the festival, but started going back to the gym again. Like, so that's where gym is very important. I always had coaches giving me workouts, but for me, I started going back to the gym, getting my mind right. And I ended up helping a lot of other people at the gym. I was like coaching people up in the gym, like getting people fit, getting people jacked. And like people were coming to me and weren't even going to the personal trainers there because I just had a method that people vibe to more. I was the dude who smoked weed, liked to party, had fun, but yet I still was in the gym and, was an artist dude. So like, I don't know, it's just more relatable than the kind of stuffy people that were training. And so they offered me a job because I was bringing in business and like taking their business. And from there, it wasn't a vibe, but I learned how to sell. I learned how to sell. I didn't like selling people that didn't need fitness packages. I didn't like selling products, but I liked selling ideas of things I was into. And so I learned some things there and kept grinding, built a t-shirt clothing brand on the side, um, kept doing logos, kept doing t-shirts and designs for people. So I worked my way slowly out of that hole by getting myself right, helping other people, and like being a service to other people really got me on a new plane instead of like, woe is me. Okay, what value can I provide? If my work's not popping off, at least I can do something for other people. And I'm like, that's what coaching always was. I was always a captain in sports. So I always had this vibe of like working and connecting with people, not knowing what it was going to turn into. And so then Instagram happened. After I went to this festival and event, I was like, holy shit, I just missed drawing. I started drawing all these weird, trippy stuff, these psychedelic heavy line art, and sometimes like naked chicks that I would see in my dreams. It was really weird. But this is the kind of stuff I would draw as a kid. And I just started posting it really consistently on Instagram. And this would have been like 2013. I just happened to start posting art on Instagram during that time once Instagram really started taking off. And then I discovered hand lettering, and that's when shit really popped off. Is just the act of drawing letters. As that kid, always drawing on book covers and stuff, drawing other people's names on book covers. Like, whoa, I was meant for this. And that's where my audience started really growing. All of a sudden, 10,000 followers in a couple fucking months. I'm like, dude, I never had anybody like my work. I got bullied severely growing up where I was like hiding my sketchbooks away from bullies so they wouldn't have more firepower to kick my ass. And so finally, like the first time I caught a taste of like, whoa, there is an audience for what I like to create, which was dangerous at times too. But, creating for Instagram allowed me to then start blogging. Nobody read my blog, but it led to one speaking opportunity. And that one speaking opportunity, I almost said no to, ended up being in front of like 150 people. And because I said yes to that and it went so fucking well, it landed me a massive talk like a month later in front of 1,000 people, which exploded everything from me. That started the podcast from there. And then that led to people asking me questions on like, hey, how do I build a side hustle too? I see you do this outside of a day job. And so I was jumping on Skype calls all the time with people who listened to the podcast who just wanted to pick my brain. I didn't even know I was coaching, and it got to the point I hated doing freelance. I did work for Apple I got a $2,000 job for Apple and I fucking hated it because the whole time I was like, man, I'd rather be creating my own art for the podcast and having conversations with people. I was doing murals, $5,000, $10,000 for murals or $5,000, $10,000 logo jobs. I'm like, this shit sucks. I don't like doing it. I don't like creating for other people. And then it got to the point I was getting so many people hitting me up for calls and I hated freelance so much and I killed the merch in my shop. I went into 2019. I'm talking a lot here. Holy fuck. Wow.
Nah, good, bro. You're good. You're taking us through the story, and I love it.
I'm just rolling right now. So yeah, feel free to
Good
interrupt
one.
me.
Like that's why I'm not interrupting you.
Yeah. The skinny is I went from like, what did you do when you were depressed and in a rut and rock bottom to like, here's how coaching was born. Here's a question you didn't ask. But anyway, like I went into 2019. I had a strong feeling in my gut, like, yo, I just like being on calls with people. And so I killed the merch in my shop. I killed freelance. I said no to all of that. In 2019, I took on 5 coaching sessions, $100 for 1 hour a piece. I thought I was overcharging. I didn't think anybody would buy. And those fuckers sold out in 10 minutes to like 5 people in 5 different countries. And I was like, whoa, there's something here. And so that's kind of like how I went from rock bottom to sticking with it, to feeling like I could only either do coaching and coaching football or only doing my art, to like somehow merging the two worlds together instead of seeing it as a dichotomy of 2 separate paths of like, what if I stumbled into this path together, and that's how coaching side hustle was born at the time before I took it full time.
Again, legendary, man. And 2 notes here, 2 takes for the audience, real quick, based on what you just told me. One is the fact that if you take a step back, how many things did Scotty just mention that he did on this run to becoming a coach? All right. And then 2, the fact that he did not know which one was going to lead to the next thing. You see what I mean here? It's usually like that. It's usually like that one thing that you kind of like set yourself up to do, but you're not so sure about. You kind of just like, like, what is that going to lead to? You know what I mean? I don't want to say most of the time, but surprisingly, a lot of those tend to be like that one thing that just opens up the door to like the next that you had no clue that even connected. So the fact that Scotty was able to, first of all, have the ability to like, he hit rock bottom, cool, but he picked himself up and said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna try this. And that ended up leading him to try that and to try that. And next thing you know, he's like on this wave of just finding himself in a form that allows him to make money doing what he loves to do. You know what I mean? He got to a point where he was working with Apple, but he quickly realized, yo, I don't like this shit. But how would he have known that if he would have never gotten that position in the first place? You know what I mean?
One thing I already love that you do that I love to do is when I'm talking to someone, I extract takeaways and share them in the moment. So like I already fucking vibe to that. I love that. It's just like immediately baking something in for the audience along the way. That's so dope that you do that. But yeah, that's like what I teach too, is with this, there's no instruction manual for building a path on your own. We can only see what other people are doing and study and be like, hey, is that the path I want to do or not? Like I thought the only way I could be a successful full-time creative is if I went the full designer route, freelance designer. I thought the dream was working with Apple and Nike, but that shit was just someone else's dream. And this is why I preach the power of a day job, is because The day job isn't using you. It only is if you let it. That's just a very limited fucking program perspective that society places on us. Instead, I'm like, yo, fuck that. I'm using the day job right now to pay my bills, to have peace of mind when I'm sleeping at night, even though there's no such thing as a safe day job. I got rugged from my safe day job in 2019, which led to me having the biggest blessing of jumping into coaching full time in 2020. But that's why I teach the day job. It's like it's just a beautiful thing to leverage to get what you want on the side. Leverage the day job to fuel the dream job, because I don't believe in a starving artist mentality. It's fucking bullshit. I don't believe in that, and I refuse to believe in it, and I refuse to let my students believe in it. It's it's just a limiting mindset that
No,
just
I had
totally stunts us.
Dude, and I absolutely love the fact that what you just said, that statement right there about you know doing your job at Apple, although it wasn't your dream, that might be somebody else's dream. Keep in mind too that it's all about the perspective and on the individual and how they're feeling in their current position, right? So for him, he realized, yo, this is not for me. But for another person, it might be everything. Some people do like that lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what it comes down to is how truthful are you with yourself in your current position? Are you actually happy, motivated? Are you growing? And if you're not, then do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, I have a cousin right now, literally, that is in this same position where he's overall like a creative, but he found this job that is paying him pretty well. And I just visited him the other day, like when I went back to Cali, and dude, he was very unhappy. And I literally broke it down in one fucking night. I was like, bro, you trust me, right? He's like, yeah, of course. I was like, dude, all right, here's what we're gonna do. First of all, you need to tell me what you want, bro. Because you're over here talking about this guy and your job, he's making a killing, but you don't know why. And so I told him, you either need a plan for one or two things. Plan on how to fucking get to the level that he's at if you want to stay at this job and make that much money within this job, or you start to plan out your exit plan. Those are the only two decisions that you have, right? And so you need to pick one or the other, or else you're be stuck in the middle feeling like shit.
Exactly. And I think the hardest thing within there is most people don't know what they want. And when you don't know what you want, then you have no priorities. And when you don't have any priorities, you're drifting. And when you're drifting, you're winging it. And when you're winging it, you don't have a measurable result that you're experiencing. So all you feel is just failure compared to someone else within your timeline.
Preach, Scotty. Jesus.
So most people, where I like to start with people, I had to get very clear about someone like Trev, for example. When we first started working together early 2022, one of the assignments I had Trev doing, he had a very hard time thinking about what a 3 to 5 year big picture plan could be. What did he want in 3 to 5 years? And I'm like, okay, one thing I learned through Trev is not everybody knows what a 3 to 5 year picture looks like. At that time working with Trev, I thought I knew what my 3 to 5 year plan was. Within the last year, that shit has radically fucking changed. So Trev taught me something in that moment. Like, not everyone I work with needs to have 3 to 5 year, but if I can at least figure out a season that someone's in and what's something you want, what's a target within this season, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, let's work with that. Like, everybody can think of at least one thing in the short term. So I at least start, if you don't know big picture, some people are like, I'm crystal clear, I want this. And then some people are like, I have no idea. So I'm like, let's start small. And so the smaller we start, I'm all about, if you want to grow fast, let's slow down and slowly scale. And most people are like, move fast and figure it out along the way. I'm like, there's elements of that. That was my career. But now I'm like, yo, do less but better. Let's slow the fuck down. Let's be very intentional.
Yo, Scotty is dropping gems here, man. And I saw there was a comment like on the space. Yes, this is the first time that Scotty and I speak at all like this one on one. So yeah, man, it's wild. And
It's funny. Sean Holland down there, he just took one of my boot camps, and we've really got a chance to connect over like the last a couple months. So yeah, hopped on a call. Then he took a boot camp. So yeah, it's been really fucking dope getting a chance to work with him.
100%. Shout out
He
Charlotte.
he, he hears me on my rants. He got to hear me a lot on my rants.
Yo, and this is like one of the ways that I actually, I guess you can say I mentor artists in some way, somehow, because All right. So overall, with that, like, what I like to do, man, I like to find like-minded individuals who are passionate doing what they love, and that's why I use the term creative, because creative means it can be a different niche. It can be music. It can be DJ. It can be being a chef. To me, that these are all forms of creativity, right? Doing what you love. And so when I ask somebody, okay, you don't always need to have the plan, like you just said, to have a 3 5 year plan, but your overall reason why you do anything. You know what I mean? So one of the things I always ask these artists is, all right, what do you want to do with this, bro? Yes, you create dope art. Yeah, you have skill, you have technique. All right, but what do you actually want to do with this? And I make them think like, what do I want to do with this? And I try to find the artists that say and who are like give me the vibe of like, yo, I don't know how, but I want to take this as far as I fucking can. I don't know what that looks like, but that's what I want to do. I just want to take this as far as I can for as long as I can. And for me, like as a coach, quote unquote, that's all I need, bro, because that tells me this person is dedicated. They will put in the time, they'll go through the hurdles because that's actually what they love to do. You know what I mean? And so the how, we can figure that shit out. But the why, as long as I know your why is fucking genuine, dude, I'll take you on all day.
Big facts. Yeah, and sadly, most people don't even know the why, but it's because of people like us who ask hard questions. I like my big thing is I see coaching. I've learned coaching is more of like a GPS. I'm a GPS. You're still driving, and my job as a GPS is like once I know your destination, I can provide you guidance along the path. I can be like, yo, there is construction on this way, aka lots of distractions ahead of you. You say the priorities get to here as quickly as possible, but yet you're like deviating off course. Or like, yo, here's potential rest stops. I can tell you're feeling burnt out. How about we just pump the brakes a little bit, like Casey Duke last year working with me in a 12-week program. I'm like, bro, you say you want to do all these things, yet the holidays are right around the corner. You say you want to drop 3 pieces and release your website. Bro, that's too ambitious and highly unrealistic, and it's just calling for burnout because you still have a day job. We're in sickness season. You got a kiddo plus the holidays. Like, bro, you're a fucking psycho. This shit is not possible. And so we had to scale things back. I'm all about ambitious yet realistic. So there's a lot of different moving elements to things, and that's why I feel like coaches are more GPS. I'm not going to give you the direct here's what to do. I can help create action items, but our job is to ask questions. So the person on the other side, I think the best coaching is when the person on the other side comes up with a response based on the hard questions that I continue to ask.
Bro, yes to everything, man. And so, like, my question here for you is, man, how do you do it? You know what I mean? How does a person like you, who you're the GPS to all these people, right, that take your course, and you're literally like, kind of like a guide, man. Like, you said you're ambitious, but you keep it realistic at the same time. How do you manage your day to day? Like, what does that look like for you?
One, I'm a coach who always believes in coaches because if I didn't believe in having my own coaches, that'd be like a doctor who doesn't believe in the power of having a doctor. So you better believe I spend lots of money to have coaches because I have zero pride anymore to say I can't do it alone. So in every little aspect of fitness, wellness, dad, entrepreneurship, Pokemon card investing and collecting down there, like Stone Eater is a guide and a mentor for me in the Pokemon space. So like I have guides everywhere. I got Yodas everywhere. I'm Luke Skywalker and I surround myself with Yodas. Um, but how I do it though is a lot of people don't believe in seasons, but I'm a season dude. And when I know the season I'm in, that way I then know what's my focus and my priority, not focuses, not priorities. What's my focus and my priority? And when I know the season, then the focus and the priority, now I boil it down to what's the number one result I'm trying to attract or trying to accomplish. Because I know my anxiety kicks in when I take on too much, when I say yes to too many people and too many things, when I get blindsided, my lack of priorities and filters where everything looks like an opportunity when really I'm staring down a bunch of distractions. So for me, the only way I can operate is I got to know the season I'm in. I'm in a season right now of dealing with 3 kiddos, a newborn, a 5-year-old that's going to school for the first time that I've never experienced before, back-to-back coaching programs overlapping, new my daughter starting dance weekly, my son starting flag football after just getting done with t-ball. So like I'm just in a crazy season where I know it's heavy coaching and family mode. Unfortunately, the side hustle of my art has to take a back seat this season. But I would beat myself up about it and compare myself to what everybody else is doing, like Stoic dropping fucking heat every week on drip, if I didn't know the season I'm in. So that's how I do it. I have to know the season, and I have to have like outside accountability and support because I can't do it on my own.
You just gave me hella confirmations, man, because I look at it pretty similar. And to the audience, my interpretation, which Scotty just said, is the fact that a season is kind of like knowing your current situation and at that current place in time, right? And one understand,
Damn. Okay.
yeah.
Season is knowing your current situation at a current period of time. Shala asked me what that was, and I kind of went on like a 5-minute rant at the beginning of the call, and you just summarized it in a fucking sentence. Wow. See, sometimes people will articulate what you try to say way better. That was beautiful. Can you say it one more time what a season is?
So a season is knowing your position, your current place at your current time. And then what I was going to say after that was understanding it, accepting it, and then planning off of it. So the way I take it, the way I have implemented it in my life, because bro, I do so many things, I should be going crazy. You know what I mean? I prioritize on the fact that I don't extra stress myself. And so, like Scotty just said, if he's going through a period of like, yo, I need to be, 80% dad and 20% everything else because of his newborn, his current situation, I'm already in this. So why am I gonna add more stress on top, feeling like, yo, I'm missing out because I'm not drawing, I'm not creating art, I'm not dropping? Bro, you don't need that. Like, skip that shit. And the next season it'll be 50% art and like 50% dad. So the fact that you accept it, you plan on it, you eliminate so much extra stress that is not needed.
100%. I literally have exercises that I get nitty gritty on, like, hey, what's our priorities in our life bucket, our day job bucket, and our dream bucket. I use percentages and everything. So that's a total vibe. 100%. I get nitty gritty, and people may say, like, that's too much. But like, would you rather at least have constraints and boundaries that you operate within to give yourself like peace of mind and grace? Or would you rather just be stressed the fuck out in your head dealing with the inner critic all the time because you don't have guardrails? So why I may be granular and getting really gritty with numbers and everything and how I calculate my life, I'd rather stay objective and save my emotions for my art.
Goosebumps, man. Absolute
And
goosebumps.
I got to give credit to John Lay. John Lay said it on a space of mine when I got to interview him. He's like, dude, save the emotions for your art. And I just baked in the whole objective side from the business standpoint. I was like, I'm taking that and I'm going to just remix it into what I have. So got to give a credit there.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Shout out to John. And I love this, man. I love these talks because, what you just did right there, you took something that somebody else said in a space and you applied it to your life and, like, you know what I mean, where it fits. And so the same thing here, I feel like people in the audience right now, they're listening in and, it may be that one sentence or two that they take on from the whole space that they just keep going back to in their mind, right? And that ends up for them to apply it to their life somehow, and then boom, you start like this chain reaction. And so that's why I think these spaces are so powerful to have these like organic, raw conversations. Because Scotty and I have not spoken before. Like I didn't send him like, "Yo, here's an itinerary, bro. We're gonna talk about this, and that." Like all of this shit is literally happening right now, raw in real time.
Yeah, we've never chatted before. A quick DM. I think after Trev's episode, I reached out and gave you some props for a killer episode of how you carried yourself in interviews because I really study how other people interview other people. And I think that's probably the extent of how much we've chatted. It's just a natural flow right here.
Yes, sir. Energy, just overall vibes. And so, all right, let's run this all the way back. Young Scotty here. I want to know what shaped you, bro. Like, what influenced your mind to be the person that it is now. If you can go way back in time, and that first instance of inspiration to create, if you can remember that.
Easy, easy, easy. All right. Mikey Ninja Turtles is my spirit animal. That's where my obsession for pizza and Macaulay Culkin off Home Alone, a lovely cheese pizza just for me. When people ask me like, dude, why pizza? I'm like, bro, it's my childhood. Other than that, I was that weirdo kid with a bowl cut. I was that overweight little chunky kid with a bowl cut, glasses, braces. I rocked Jinko jeans when they weren't even cool, dating myself there. And I would have sleepovers and I'd go to Blockbuster and I'd rent like Roswell VHS documentaries, like straight up black and white Roswell documentaries. And my friends were like, this shit is trash. What are you doing? I'm like, go fucking home then. Because I was so into like aliens and outer space and so like pizza and aliens and like I would always I always had like Sharpies back then, the fine tip Sharpies before I knew what microns were. And so I was always just doing like ink drawings, not Zentangle, but just heavy detailed stuff, clouds and trees, just daydreaming to escape my reality of getting bullied and picked on all day and feeling like a fucking loser and failure. So those were the early days of create. I drew a lot of aliens, a lot of skulls, a lot of dragons, a lot of grim reapers, a lot of grim things, and a lot of like sky based artwork. Like that's always been a staple.
Yo, so nostalgic, man. I love it. Damn. So that was your past, hella Teenage Ninja Turtles, pizza all over the place. Absolutely, man. I remember Blockbuster. I remember those days. Going, renting out a movie or two. Like that shit was a vibe. I low key miss that. Um, but dude, the fact that well, actually, I'll put you on the spot, bro. Like around, when were you born? Like, what's your age? Like, I'm from 1990. You know what I mean? So I was still able to catch like that transition of like being a kid that's just outside to like, oh, all of a sudden there's hella tech everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird seeing that happen. Now I'm thinking about it in my head, but like, were you around the same time period?
I'm blessed. I'm an 80s baby, but I'm 88. I just turned 35 July 31st. And so I got to like experience all of it. I remember I taught my mom what a search engine was when I was in like 3rd grade. You know, I was like, Mom, today I learned about a search engine. I was using Yahoo and Google, and there's a thing called Dogpile and Ask Jeeves back in the day. So I've seen when my grandma had a big old brick cell phone in her car. I've had rotary phones. I've had dial-up internet. I've had all of it. So I think that's what gives me an advantage of adopting new tech and Web3 is because I see how things change. And I was early to social media because I saw the wave. I was early-ish to crypto, early-ish to Web3. I'm not like that first adopter, but I'm on that second wave who sees it, second every time. But I think that gives me an advantage being that millennial stage.
Yeah, I like how you set that up because now I'm gonna ask like, okay, knowing that, right? Seeing the different time periods, the generations, the advancement in tech, the overall the way people have adapted tech, personally and then also as businesses. Or like, what's your vibe? What are you feeling like the next couple of years are gonna lead us towards, in regards to like, let's say, just within the Web3 space to start.
I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to die on this kind of hill. I'm one like if I get a taste or if I catch a glimpse, like I get if I'm committed to something, like I'm a heavy conviction person. Like I'm like, yo, I'm willing to see where this goes for the next couple years, kind of person. Something like Bitcoin, yo, I'm banking that. I want one Bitcoin for each child, so they're straight and don't have to worry about college if they don't want to when they like turn 18. So like I'm future in the bullish of Bitcoin. Like I don't see that shit going anywhere. For right now, from the Web3 status, I'm a big believer in the digital creator economy. I'm hella bullish on what Elon's doing with X right now. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of it, but I think a lot of people don't understand it. And once they do understand it, it'll be like, oh, wow, he's a genius. Just like with everything else he's doing. Like there's a plan. Be patient with people, y'all. Fuck, it's like being mad at Elon. It's like being mad at a NFT fucking project for not producing the next month. Like just be patient. So I'm a big believer in the future of how Web3 tokenization, utility, accessibility is going to allow artists to really take that next step. I don't exactly know what it's going to be, but me personally, I envision, you know, most of my, if not all of it, coaching is going to be NFT backed, accessible tiers, running my own little conference online where only people who have certain NFTs can access it. And then maybe like even premium for my more premium art NFTs. I have no idea, but I really believe in like the culture and the community and the accessibility. And, you know, we're just in the early infancy stage of NFTs, of digital collecting, and where it's going to go for real estate, music, whatever it is going to be, counterfeit tracking. Like I know we're just really, really early in this tech. And I just think people in the creative space now who are leveraging it, like we're just getting warmed up of what this could be, you know, and I'm here to see it out, and I'm here to just be a part of it. And if I can't fully integrate my art into it, you better believe I'm at least putting my students in front where I can live vicariously through them, where they can leverage it more than me since I'm coaching first. I fucking love that. You make me feel like I did something every time.
Now, would you say that? All right, with everything you just said, which I agree 100%, by the way, would you say one of the biggest, most important things in order to reach some type of success within this space is literally just lasting long enough to see it happen?
Ooh, yes and no, because I think you're just giving a top level response to it. And I feel like you will agree with me with what I'm about to say is it's more than just lasting. I feel like all the effort that we do in the in between, the relationship building, the brand building, the craft, the ability to market, promote, and communicate ourselves, our story, our process, and allow others to connect with it. What we're doing also at the same time, keeping a foot in Web2 and building up that audience so we can bridge when the next bull comes and all of a sudden all of our friends are asking us about NFTs and art and now they want involved. Like we're established, you know, so building in both worlds. So an element of yes, if we can just last and be here, that's fine. But I don't want someone to get lazy and be like, yeah, I just kept passively showing up because I was just expecting like when the bull market comes, that means liquidity and then things will come. Like I'm here busting my ass to be one of the most top trusted people for when the tides do change of like, yeah, there's Scotty. He's been building like hardcore onboarding, pushing his craft. Like that's the kind of person I want to invest in when liquidity comes around. So I don't want anybody to be like, if I just stick around and survive, I'm like, stick around and fucking build like crazy, bust your ass, do everything you can right now, as well as what are you doing over in like Web2. I think that's just as important right now, you know, to diversify a bit. But I think it's more than just sticking around, which I know you would agree with too.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I meant by using the word lasting because to me, everything you just said, like, that's what it takes. And so, what that takes is a lot of fucking energy. You know what I mean? And so, to be consistent with that much energy, showing up and putting in the work and making the connections and all of that, that's a lot, man. That's what I mean by like lasting long enough to like actually reap the benefits because it's a tough game, man. This is probably like one of the most difficult spaces out there in general because it's so new, it's so experimental, and so it's very easy to feel burnt out. And we've seen it happen time and time and again. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us have gone through at least one or two burnouts already. When we first get introduced to the space, we're all fucking hyped, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh damn, like I gotta do this every day or like every other day. Like, oh, okay, shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, man. For me, the way I kind of found peace with all of this is understanding that this is the infinite game with whatever you're building. And if you approach it that way, that perspective, you can take days off, bro. But at the end of the day, it's like, best believe I'm still going to show up. And when I show up, I'm going to show up at my 100%. I'll at least try to. So that's what I mean by like lasting that long like that with that type of intensity. It's a balance between intensity and then overall your conditioning on how long you can last. I mean, shit, I understand that from sports as well, bro. Like when you were explaining your life, Scotty, no joke. I was like, yo, is this guy like? Am I the Scotty in a different multiverse or something, because I relate to a lot of this shit you were talking about, bro. You know, when it comes to sports, I went to private liberal arts college as well. You know what I mean? Having like a side hustle. For you, it was t-shirts. For me, it was shoes. Like, you know what I mean? So I was just like, yo, what the fuck? This is crazy. So I can definitely relate to a lot of stuff that you're talking about, bro. And I can almost see your life, bro, like right in front of me, which is weird, but like at the same time.
This is what I try to tell students because I thought nobody would care about my story. Nobody would care about anything about me. Why should anyone care? But you're proving my point of like somebody out there is going to find what you have to say relatable, or they'll see like their life parallel at certain points with yours too. And I went on record saying like to multiple people, like no one's going to care about what I have to say. And then that's been the reason why I've been on stages and been on interviews and whatever it is, or people sign up for coaching because they feel connected to what I do. And I'm like, you just proved a fucking point to students I had to convince down in the audience I'm looking at that what they had to say about their story matters. So thank you for just proving me right in front of a couple very stubborn souls down there.
That clap was for me, by the way.
You see two of the people right there laughing are who I'm talking about.
Yo, this is wild, man. I love it, bro. This is like the perfect way to start the Friday, because after this, you left feeling like, yo, I want to attack everything, bro. Give me that fucking list of tasks. I'm
Right.
ready.
And if I could like rewind back to that thing of like just lasting long, lasting until the bull market. We don't know if it's going to return or not. But the main thing here is I think what separates those who are like really successful from just starving artists is what if I put in all this work and effort and it doesn't happen? It doesn't turn out to how I wanted it to be. To me, I'm more like, but what if? Not what if, but what if? I'm willing to invest my finite time, energy, my resources, my money into a lane that I feel convicted in. I have bold self belief in a direction I'm going, even if it doesn't turn out how I expect it to. Time and time again, I've proved to myself that even if I go all in and it doesn't happen the exact way that I was thinking originally, whatever I learn along the way, the people I meet along the way, the skills I build along the way, I'm able to uproot that and fucking dominate whatever the new path presents itself. So we're all nervous right now of like, is Soul gonna die? Is NFTs ever gonna rebound? But the shit you're building right now, you know, you're putting out work, regardless if it sells or not, you're getting better at your craft. You're building a story, you're getting better at presenting yourself. You're finding your voice, you're learning how to tell your story and connecting that with your work. You're showing up for yourself in hard times. So you're building grit and tenacity. You're building systems and processes and routines and disciplines and habits. This is all the shit that I fuck with, the unsexy shit that leads to unsexy results. This is the shit that you can uproot and carry that will transcend beyond Web 2, Web 3, Web 69, Web 420. It's the shit we're doing right now. We don't know what it's going to turn into, what Solana's going to be, but what you're learning is priceless and it will carry over to whatever is next, y'all. So stop stressing about that perfect end result and just be prepared of what it could turn into, because it usually evolves into something you could never imagine. And that's been my entire creative career, is it always revolves into something I could never imagine. It's always way fucking better than I ever expected. It's just trusting the universe or whatever you put in your faith into.
Dude, you get to connect with other crazy like-minded creators who are extremely fucking talented. You get instant feedback when you drop, bro. You get love. You know how long it takes for a traditional artist to get feedback on a piece? Dude, some people create art and that shit doesn't hit the surface for months. If like they have a show or something, or it gets bought by a collector, then it sits in the living room or an office and nobody sees that shit. You know what I mean? The fact that we are able to get instant feedback on what we produce and create, that's insane, man. That levels you up so much faster than the traditional sense. Bro, you get to be a part of a legendary Scotty Lyko backed by ODK space in real time. Think about that. Insane. Absolutely insane.
100%. And I want to be full transparent. I could vibe like way over an hour, but my son does get home from the bus in like 12 minutes. So I just want to be, um, what's the word? Over communicating there. Just gotta hop into dad mode, like sharp at 12 minutes. So I'll
Good.
take the phone out and like vibe out in the porch as I wait for the bus to pull up.
Yeah, no, we're very good with time here. Like I always cut it at the 1 hour mark. Actually, in 2 minutes is when I hop in and let the audience know they have a question or statement. Like that's the time. So we can go ahead and do that now. So if there's anybody in the audience that wants to come up to the stage, ask a question, or simply just have a statement. This is your time before we start to get ready to close this out. But dude, man, this has been again, like I told you, you got a legendary intro for a legendary space. I just had that feeling, man. Literally did not know much about you, but like just based on what you've done and like how I see you present yourself, I was like, bro, this is about to be a vibe. I feel like we could have a space, what I mean, and have and bring something into that space every single time. That can be like a point of clarity or a shift of perspective, which is everything, by the way.
100%. It's because, and to add to it, it's like, what are you doing in between your drops? What are you doing in between you releasing your art? Like, between you releasing your art, you're providing a lot of value to people in your community. Like, how do you be more than your art? Well, you're doing it right here.
Yep. And so, all right, Scotty, this is what we're going towards now. So now, all that being said, you know what I mean? You've been absolutely killing it with coaching these artists within our space. I absolutely love that. I love that, some of the names that you dropped, I've spoken to as well. So it's like, I feel like we're all winning here, which is fucking amazing. It's great. It inspires me, it motivates me. And so what I want to know is, what does Scotty want? You know what I mean? What is Scotty's goal here? You're like, if there's no really like no boundaries here, what does Scotty want to accomplish?
That's what Scotty has been noodling hard on lately. Not gonna lie, because there's days, I think it was just Stoke I was talking to. There's days where I'm like, I spend more time being a service to others, like all day. It's in the morning, pour into my family real quick. All day, pour into students. In the evenings, pour back into my family. And right now it's tax season at the end of the day for my crypto and stuff. Like, I just haven't had a chance to draw. So in a perfect world, which I'm blowing up coaching models and stuff to really get to a point where I'm like 50-60% coaching, only people I really want to work with that get me hyped, that I feel very invested in who they are, and it's premium. And then here's all my free shit, or here's accessible video courses, whatever, just to like guide people along the path to like different levels of how to work with me. Because I've made myself too accessible at times, and it sounds like an asshole even saying that because I'm a recovering people pleaser, but not everybody is of equal importance and priority, and especially you have to like protect your time and your energy. And so those are hard lessons I've had to learn. So within the next year or so, I want to build out a model that's 50-60% coaching and 40 to 50% art, because I live vicariously through my students right now. And someone like Trev, like, I'm so heavily invested in what this dude is doing. Like, I can't let him be up in his feelings for too long. Cause I'm like, bro, you have an opportunity I would kill to fucking have, and I have things that probably he would kill to have. So I know it's all relative, but I live through them because I can't push my shit as fast as I wish I could. I feel like I could radically put my art on a different level, but that would come at a cost of how many people would I not get a chance to work with that maybe could have used something I could have provided. And then maybe they go lost and give up on their shit when really they had something incredible they could have done. That would eat me up the rest of my life if I stopped doing what I was doing. So how do I get this more dialed in, to where I don't feel guilty about making time for my art. I don't feel guilty about taking any time off. I get to be with my family more. I get to take a day off without feeling like I'm missing something. So I'm still chasing what that future ideal version of my business is. I just know I need to create more, and I need to figure out what's next of this Web3 coaching model and the Web2 bridge. So, That's a long-winded answer to say I want a 50-50 model versus this 90-10 or 95-5 at a time, because I feel like there's something incredible I can do with my art. I'm just not able to be there yet, but at least I get to help other students do it.
Bro, how good did that just feel to say all that?
I haven't really had a chance to share it with people. That's just like what I've been really, really, really struggling with behind the scenes. It stresses me out. I lose sleep over it because I know there's just a whole nother level. I'm just not there yet, but I will. I'll get there. So it feels good. Thanks for letting me vent. That
Exactly.
felt good.
Dude, cause man, I can see it, man. I can see it. Not even knowing you that much, but I can see it, and you know what I mean. I think it's so important to remember, like, what are your dreams, bro? How do you like to feel? You know what I mean? What makes you tick and motivated and stuff? Yes, all these things that your students are doing and the things that you're setting up for your family, they're great. But at the end of the day, what is really for you? You know what I mean? For your own character, your personality, for Scotty himself, for the young Scotty, right? So that's why I ask, bro, like, just remember, bro, like, find that time for you. And if you ever need any type of fucking help anywhere, dude, because I do a lot of systemizing as well, because it's the same shit, man. Like, I'm always balancing this work life balance type of thing where it's like, I need my me time to create, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm trying all types of shit over here. So I feel like, if you and I can connect and kind of share what we're trying, I feel like we can probably get a pretty good system going that will allow us to have more time to create and just be ourselves within that moment.
100%, because I definitely don't have it all figured out. I'm a master at helping other people figure it out. But again, this is why I have guides. And one thing for me is, I think it's tapping into a superpower at a time, or like tapping into a source. And for others it's pain. For me, it's fear. Like, I operate out of fear with my coaching business. Like, if this all went away, I'll fail my family, and what that drives me. So if I operate out of fear with my coaching, that way I can operate out of abundance with my art on the side. And it's probably not the most healthiest, but that's what works for me this season. And then operating out of fear of blowing it up and reinventing the model after all these years of building it, that's scary, but I think it's time. I don't know what it is yet, and that's part of embracing the unknown, right?
Well, let's tap in, bro. Let's make this shit happen because I definitely want to see you, on your creative side. So, that being said, I know you have, father duties to do. So let's go ahead and wrap up this space, bro. It's been an absolute fucking pleasure, and I'm gonna close it out with this last question that I always ask, our guests that come into the space is, if you can go back in time, if you had 10 seconds to have, with young Scotty, what would you tell him?
Simple. This is the motto I live by right now, is that you can't make everyone happy. You are not pizza. So it's really important to not try to cater to the masses, because when you try to cater to everyone, you are unable to connect with anyone, especially yourself. So you got to really figure out who are the right people to disappoint, and that's the motto I've really been trying to live by lately.
And that's going to be the one thing that I take away from this space. You are not pizza. Fucking legend.
Right, yo. Blame Mikey. That new Ninja Turtle movie is so dope. Took my son to that lately. It's crazy. All this shit we grew up with as kids are like still around today. So I love that, and I think it just goes to show, create shit that your inner child would be stoked about. Like, I feel like that's it.
Dude, we're going to have to run this back, man.
Oh man,
Easy.
I'm always down. Anytime. 100%. And we'll need to get you on me and Ronan's art and soul space too. That'd be sick.
100%, bro. Just tap in. I'll make the time. Let's do it. I want to quickly thank the audience for coming, vibing with us. This has been a very, man, just overall inspiring conversation. I'm feeling great. I'm pretty sure Scotty's feeling great. And I hope the audience is feeling great. And so, that being said, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day going into the weekend. Yeah, I mean, have fun, be safe. And remember, we do this every Friday, The Creative Mind. And so, Scotty, again, man, such a pleasure.
And thanks for working around my schedule and moving your time back. It means a lot, especially like moving around students that I don't want to like reschedule with. So thank you. Much love, y'all.